Why we fall in love. Why do we love? Do we choose to love, or is it something that happens naturally? Love is one of the most powerful emotions humans experience, yet it is also one of the least understood. Today, we're going to analyze love from a psychological perspective and explore why we fall in love, why some relationships fail, and what separates temporary attraction from lasting connection.
Part 1. What is love, and why do we fall in love? Love is an emotion, just like anger, jealousy, fear, or joy. But love exists in many forms. We love our parents, our children, our friends, our homes, and even certain movies or hobbies. For this discussion, however, we'll focus specifically on romantic love. Have you ever met someone and thought, I've fallen in love with them? Why does that happen, especially when you barely know the person? To answer that question, we first need to understand how people evaluate things. Imagine someone asks you, what kind of movie do you like? A checklist immediately forms in your mind. A good movie, according to your preferences, might need a certain genre, certain characters, a particular storytelling style, or a specific type of ending. At the same time, you probably have a negative checklist as well. Certain cliches, plot holes, or genres might make you dislike a movie, regardless of its strength.
Human attraction works in a similar way. Whether consciously or unconsciously, all of us carry an image of an ideal partner. We may want someone who is kind, intelligent, humorous, ambitious, trustworthy, financially stable, physically attractive, or shares our values, beliefs, and lifestyle. Physical attraction is also part of this process. Our biological instincts and desires influence what we find attractive, and therefore become part of our checklist. When we meet someone who matches enough items on that checklist, we begin to develop romantic feelings. Of course, nobody matches our ideal perfectly. Real people have flaws, strengths, and weaknesses. Think of attraction as the combined result of positive traits and negative traits. The more someone aligns with your preferences, while having lesser characteristics from your negative checklist, the stronger your attraction is likely to be.
But this raises another question. What about love at first sight? How can you love someone you don't even know? The answer is something psychologists call projection and appearance bias. When we see someone attractive, we often project our own assumptions onto them. Imagine a well-groomed man wearing an expensive suit. Many people might automatically assume he is wealthy, confident, intelligent, ambitious, protective, or successful. But logically, none of those qualities can be determined simply by looking at his clothing. Similarly, when people experience love at first sight, they are often falling in love not with the person themselves, but with the story they have created about that person. They fill in the missing details using their imagination and assume that the individual possesses all the qualities on their checklist. This is why many intense crushes disappear once people get to know each other better. The real person eventually replaces the imagined person, and sometimes the reality does not match the fantasy.
So, before declaring that you're in love, make sure you're judging the actual person, rather than the version you've created in your mind. But another question remains. Many people eventually find someone who seems perfect for them, yet the relationship still fails. They say, I still love them, but the relationship isn't working. How is that possible? To answer that, we need to understand that there are different phases of romantic love.
Part 2. Attraction versus connection. Love may be an emotion, but loving is a verb. Feeling love and building a relationship or a bond are not the same thing. Let's introduce a useful distinction. Dopamine-driven love versus oxytocin-driven love. When a relationship first begins, everything feels exciting. Every conversation is new. Every date is exciting. Every message feels important. This period is often called the honeymoon phase. Many people mistakenly believe that this phase is what love is supposed to feel like, forever. But it isn't. The honeymoon phase is largely driven by dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with novelty, anticipation, and reward.
New experiences trigger dopamine, which creates excitement and emotional intensity. The problem is that novelty doesn't last forever. Psychologists refer to this as hedonic adaptation, or habituation. Human beings naturally become accustomed to things over time. What was once exciting eventually becomes normal. As a result, maintaining the same level of excitement requires increasingly bigger experiences, more surprises, and greater stimulation. Eventually, that becomes unsustainable. This is why many people say the spark is gone. But perhaps the spark was never meant to last forever. After all, a spark's purpose is to start a fire, not to remain a spark forever.
This brings us to a different form of love, oxytocin-driven love. Unlike dopamine-based attraction, oxytocin-based love is built on trust, care, commitment, emotional security, and shared meaning. Think about your relationship with your parents, siblings, or lifelong friends. You don't need exciting adventures every day to care about them deeply. The bond exists because of years of support, sacrifice, trust, and shared experiences. Long-term romantic relationships work the same way. A relationship survives not because the excitement never fades, but because something deeper replaces it.
That deeper bond is built through actions, helping each other during difficult times, understanding each other's values, making sacrifices when necessary, supporting each other's goals, spending quality time together, showing appreciation, giving thoughtful gifts, sharing experiences, resolving conflicts respectfully. All of these actions strengthen what some relationship experts call an emotional bank account. Every positive action becomes a deposit. Every betrayal, broken promise, or act of neglect becomes a withdrawal. Healthy relationships are built by consistently making deposits over time. This brings us back to the idea of the checklist. Most people have a checklist designed only for dopamine attraction. They know what makes someone exciting. They know what makes someone physically attractive. They know what creates butterflies.
But very few people have a checklist for long-term compatibility. If you're looking for a life partner rather than a temporary romance, your checklist should include questions such as, do we share similar values? Do we want similar things in life? How do they handle conflict? Are they trustworthy? Are they willing to sacrifice for the relationship? Can we build a family or future together? Do they consistently contribute to the emotional bank account? Attraction may bring two people together, but shared values, trust, commitment, and mutual effort are what keep them together. The final lesson is simple. Just because you love someone does not mean you will successfully build a lasting bond with them. Love may start a relationship, but only consistent action can sustain it.
Part 3. How to make someone fall in love with you. After understanding why people fall in love and what makes relationships last, a natural question arises. How do you make someone fall in love with you? Most people approach this the wrong way. When they develop a crush, they start showering the other person with attention, favors, gifts, compliments, and constant availability. They believe that if they give enough, care enough, or sacrifice enough, the other person will eventually fall for them.
In other words, they invest in the other person. But attraction rarely works that way. Remember the checklist we discussed earlier. People fall in love when someone matches enough of the qualities they desire in a partner. If you want someone to be attracted to you, the question is not, what can I do for them? The question is, what kind of person are they looking for? If someone values intelligence, becoming more intelligent will increase your attractiveness. If they value confidence, developing confidence will help. If they value ambition, discipline, kindness, humor, or physical fitness, then improving those qualities makes you more appealing. The key principle is simple. Invest in yourself, not in them. Instead of spending all your energy trying to impress someone, spend that energy becoming a better version of yourself. Improve your health, develop useful skills, build confidence, work on your career, improve your communication skills, expand your knowledge, strengthen your character.
Not only does this increase your attractiveness to a particular person, but it also increases your attractiveness in general. There is another reason this approach works.
People are often attracted to those who appear to have options, goals, and a fulfilling life of their own. Someone whose entire world revolves around another person can appear needy or dependent. In contrast, someone who has purpose, self-respect, and direction tends to be more attractive. This does not mean pretending to be someone you are not, nor does it mean changing yourself completely for another person. Rather, it means becoming the best version of yourself while remaining authentic.